Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another rebuild, and today we are rebuilding Bursaspor from Turkey. Now, if we take a look at them in-game, you can see they are a Super League winner historically, but if we take a look, you can see they won that in 2010, so not that long ago at all. Since then, they've had back-to-back almost relegations, and they are now finding themselves in the Turkish third tier. You can see they were relegated from the Super League in the 2018-2019 season. Then at the end of 21-22, they were relegated again and now find themselves in the Turkish third tier. And if I go onto the structure, you can see here we are one of 19 clubs in this division. One or two teams get promoted dependent on the playoffs. You go into the Turkish first division, which, as you can see, there's some interesting teams in there, and then from there you have to go up into the Super League. Now, we will be trying to take this team back to the 2010 glory days, but we're going to see how we get on, and however long this takes, we will try to grind it out and see how we get on. Obviously, competitions wise, this is how we are looking for this season. We have the league, obviously, that we are in. We also have the Turkish Cup as well. The board only want us to be competitive in this one, so we're not going to try too hard in that. Obviously, the league is our priority. Tactic wise, this is what we are going to be running. We are going to be running 𝗕𝗪𝗬𝗜𝗚 𝗕𝗪𝗚 version 2. There are some deficiencies in this team already, as you can kind of see, mainly at fullback, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We've got our star player here, is this guy, 𝗕𝗪𝗚𝗚𝗚𝗏. He looks pretty good, capped by Turkey at under 21 level, despite now being 27. He looks like a good player for us and could be a very good option. He's currently playing on that right-hand side and is a 4.5 star player. We're solid in goal, we're okay at centre-back, and then we've got decent enough options up top. So hopefully we can kind of fire ourselves with the goal-getter to the top of the league. If we take a look at the league, though, we're predicted to finish in mid-table. We're a new team into the division, but we are predicted to finish in mid-table. 14-1 to win the title. It's going to be interesting to see how we do get on. I think this team's capable of actually doing something here, but we were one of the relegated teams, so let's see what happens. The interesting thing with this team, though, is the money that we do not have, basically. We've got £50 million worth of debt, guys. It's a lot. Bank loan interest only payment, it's a lot. 45 million in that, and then we've got 4.8 million in another interest only loan. This is going to be a tough one. We're going to have our hands tied financially. Stick around and see how we get on in season number 1. Guys, before we get into the results of season number 1, FM24 is now available for you guys to pre-order, and if you do so via the fanatical link in my description and use the code HOODFM at checkout, you can save yourself up to 22% on this year's game, and it would also go towards supporting me as a creator, so I would greatly appreciate it. But let's dive in to season number 1, where we've got ourselves promoted. Yes, we are promoted as champions. As you can see, lots of clubs actually being deducted points for financial mismanagement. 3 clubs all being deducted 3 points, but we come out on top. 25 victories, 8 draws, 3 losses in the season, goal difference of plus 49, which is great to see. We got to the 4th round in the cup. We'll talk about that one right now. Actually, let's talk about the cup first and foremost. Let's take that out. You can see our progress through here until we come up to against Antalyaspor. I'm definitely butchering these, but we came up against a Super League team who have got 𝗕𝗪𝗚𝗏𝗏 as their manager, and we lost, which is kind of what you would expect. We only lost 1-0 at home, so ultimately I think we did pretty well here. A good account of ourselves, but obviously losing to a team that is 2 tiers higher than us is no mean feat. Looking at the league fixtures, though, you can see we are relatively pretty successful throughout the course of the season, as you would expect for any championship side, but we've done very, very well here. If we go over to the competitions tab, you can see we've won the league by 12 points in season number 1, which is great. And 𝗵𝗏𝗏 is our top goal scorer, the 21-year-old. He's 19. He's 21. He's 5'9". No caps for Turkey at youth level, but he's a solid enough player for this particular level. I don't know how well he is going to make the step up. If we take a look at the home screen, you can see he was our top goal scorer in all competitions, our highest average rating as well. 𝗕𝗪𝗚𝗏𝗏 was our most assisted. As we did say, he was one of our best players going into the season. He got the most assists as well with 11 assists, but he has opted out of his contract and will explore his options at the end of the year. So it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, I touched on the financial woes of this club. We've been given a little bit of a boost in terms of our wage budget. We've got around an extra £19,000 a week in wage budget. So that's going to be interesting to see how we do get on here, and a smidgen in transfer budget. But we're losing some of our best players, which is going to be a tough one going into season number 2 as a promoted team. Okay, so going into season number 2, this was something that I hadn't actually noticed until I started to try and sign players. In the bottom left of your screen, you will see we are under a transfer transfer ban until the 1st of January 2024. So we're starting the 23-24 season now, so I won't be able to sign anybody until January, but it's because of bad finances, basically, that we've got this transfer ban. So it's going to be interesting to see what this squad does. Obviously, we were promoted last season, and if I go into the tactics screen, because we've lost some of our best players here because they wanted too much money, basically, despite our wage budget increasing. This is now our best 11. We've got Hassan, who's now our best player, age 28. He's only on £900 a week, which is absolute chef's kiss at this particular level. We've got some good players still, but obviously we've not been able to add to it. It's going to be an interesting one to see how we actually do step up this season, because I think it could be quite difficult. Obviously, if we go into the transfer history, you can see no business has been done, and we did release 2 players here. Sahin has gone to another team, as has this guy, but he is not as big of a loss. Obviously, competitions wise though, we are back into the 2nd tier of Turkish football. The board expectation is to fight bravely against relegation. Obviously, we don't have any money to improve this squad, so it is largely a 3rd tier squad potentially. Well, I guess they did get relegated the season before, so maybe it is a 2nd tier squad, who knows. And they want us to be competitive in the Turkish Cup. If we take a look at the league though, we're back in with lots of teams that I'm not even going to try and pronounce, but Sivasspor are definitely one of them that I've heard of before that have been in the Turkish top flight. There's quite a few of them actually in this particular division. If we take a look at the season preview though, we're predicted to finish 1 berth last. Yes, we're almost the worst team in the division alongside one of the other promoted teams. It's going to be about survival this season, guys. I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're just going to try and survive. Hopefully maybe strengthen a little bit in January. If we do, I'll let you guys know, but this is going to be a rough season until this transfer ban is over. So guys, I said if there were any transfers, I would update you, and this is the business that we were able to do in January. You can see we brought in 5 players in total, 4 players on loan, 1 player that we actually paid some money for. As you can see, we're bringing in loans from within the division, which is great. Different options for us. 𝗕𝗪𝗘𝗚 there is one of the players, another one on loan. This is another one. 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜, another player coming in on loan from a higher tier team. 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜𝗚 have loaned us this guy 𝗕𝗪𝗚𝗏, and then we've got this guy as well to play in the right back position. And then the player that we actually spent some money on was this guy, the left back, Erkan Sasa. He actually looks like a very good player, 21 years of age, a very well-rounded left back, I will say. Now, obviously, if you're managing in England and the Premier League and stuff like that, this guy's not going to get a look in. But remember, we are in the 2nd tier of Turkish football right now, and I think ultimately he looks fantastic. We paid £27,500 for him, which is perfect, absolutely perfect. Obviously, the finances are still pretty darn poor. They're actually getting worse because of the interest that we've got, and we're currently overspending on our wage budget, which is all just fantastic. But guys, did we survive? That is the main question. The answer is yes, we did survive. We finished in 14th, which is good enough. It feels like the save really does start now. We survived, got 5 points, the 5 points difference that we did need to not actually be going into a scrap come the end of the season. But the team in 7th got themselves promoted out of the playoffs, which is great. That gives us hope that if you get into the competition, if you get into the playoffs at the end, maybe we could get promoted too. We did get to the 4th round of the Turkish Cup as well. Let me filter those results out. It was the 4th round. We went straight in. We lost on penalties. To be honest, it's a good job that we are out of that competition. But ultimately, the team did very, very well. We survived. That was our main goal, especially with no signings during the summer. If we go onto the home screen, 𝗕𝗛𝗚𝗚 is our top goal scorer for the season. He's really coming into his own, 21 years of age. Again, looks like he has all the attributes to be a good striker at this level. But yeah, beyond that, I wouldn't say he's a Super League striker, let's put it that way. All in all, the team's done really well. I'm really happy with survival despite the minus 24 goal difference, but we can actually now sign players. As I said, despite spending over our transfer budget, we're in the red. We're overspending on our wage budget. I feel like this progression isn't going to be quick, but this is why we do these types of saves, guys, so that we can do this, struggle a little bit, have a little bit more of a challenge in a different nation. Let's get into season number 3. So guys, going into season number 3, we've been able to add 5 new bodies to our squad. Obviously 3 on free transfers and 2 on loan, sorry. As you can see though, these are some of the players. We've got this guy, Bursaspor. He looks like an okay player, a bit more of a lump up top at 6'4", different option for us, which you absolutely love to see because you do need that in these particular games. We've got this guy, 𝗕𝗪𝗚𝗏, who can play on both sides. Looking forward to seeing what he can do actually. He seems like a good player for the level, very versatile, and the fact that he can play on both flanks is very, very useful. And then we've got this this guy, 𝗕𝗨𝗘𝗚, Albanian youth international. He looks like a very good option at right back, can also play in the defensive midfield position again, so gives us several options. And then we've got Adam Kabak out on loan from Konyaspor, which is great. Another defensive midfield option, can also play at centre back. And then we've got Hamza as well. Again, another superb option coming in from a higher tier team. But it's actually nice to have a summer window where we can actually do some business. And if we quick pick without restriction our best 11, guys, this is how we are looking going into the season. And I'm much more happy with the balance and the levels that we do have in this team now. Obviously, Kabak coming in that defensive midfield spot really does help. And the development that we've had in some of our young players up front is really good. I will say our goalkeeper does want to leave, which is a slight problem. He is 23 years of age, so I would have loved to have kept him at the club for a little bit longer, but he does want to leave, so that could potentially cause us some problems. Obviously, we do have the same two competitions again, obviously the Turkish Cup, and the board are expecting us to fight bravely in the league. And if we go into the season preview, guys, we're predicted to finish 14th, 15-1. We're nowhere near amongst the big hitters here, so we're going to have to see how we do get on in season number 3. Before we get into the results for Season 3, guys, we did have some big movements in the January transfer window. Hassan has departed us, which is disappointing, actually. One of our better players, he has gone, and he's now transfer listed, as they don't see a future for him playing at the lower level. Did they get relegated? Oh, please tell me they got relegated. Did they get relegated out of the Super League? They did get relegated out of the Super League. Wow. Okay, well, we sold him for 300k in the January. Wasn't enough for him to actually do anything for them. Didn't keep them up, and we are £300 better off. Now, obviously, this doesn't make a dent in our £51 million worth of debt, but every little helps, as Tesco say. We did sign this guy, 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗜, the centre-back, youngish Italian centre-back, 6'3". Looks like a good level. Former Juventus trainee, I will say. Juventus next-gen level. Looks like he came out of Palermo, which is really interesting, but never really got out of the 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗘 in terms of his playing abilities, and recently has been in Turkey, and we've picked him up on a free transfer. Now, if we go into the schedule, guys, if we take a look quickly, let's talk about the cup. We went into the third round. We won in our third round tie, and then we got knocked out in the fourth round. Seems like we can't get past the fourth round, but ultimately the cup competition is not the one for us this season. Now, let's talk about the league campaign. As you can see, we've picked up a lot of good results here, as you would hope. A couple of losses here, there, and everywhere, but it's a long campaign, and our squad isn't actually fantastic, but you can see a lot of green on there. You can see a lot of green until you get to the last few games of the season. We win 4-0, 4 games to go, and then 3 draws in a row, which I thought was going to cost us. But if we go in here, you can see we are champions yet again. This time of the Turkish second tier. We will be going into the Super League for season number 4. We win the title by just 1 point, so this is why I was stressing about those draws towards the end of the season, because it was starting to look like it could cost us, but ultimately we did go up. The team in 6th and the team in 2nd are in the playoffs, so we'll have to see which one of them joins us next season, but we will be back in the Super League for next year, which is absolutely brilliant. You love to see it. If we go onto the home screen, you can see here 𝗪𝗚 is our top goal scorer, 21 goals in all competitions for him. He's doing quite well. 23 years of age, still not capped by Turkey, but again, I don't know how far he will be able to go. 𝗕𝗪𝗚 looks like a good little option for us. Again, another striker option. He's got a good high average rating, but yeah, again, don't know what his level is, what his ceiling is, and 𝗕𝗏 looked like a very good player for us. As I said, I was hoping he can kind of play on both sides. So yeah, happy with how the boys have performed this season, meaning we go into season number 4 back into the Super League, and we've been given a negative transfer budget. It's not quite what FM24 is going to offer, but yeah, it's not great in terms of transfer budget. We've now got 41,000 in terms of our wage budget. We're spending just shy of 20, so that's going to be much better. The overall balance of the club is currently in the positive, but we still do have that massive net debt there, so it's not going to go very well. I think we're going to have to get into a Champions League competition or something like that to clear some of that debt, which I don't see happening in the immediate future. But we are about to go into season number 4, guys, where we are regaining our Turkish Super League status. Let's go. So going into season number 4 back in the Turkish Super League, we've managed to add 6 players to our team to hopefully be able to compete at this level. Let's run through them super quickly. We got Marco in, a young-ish Serbian, again, another fullback, wingback kind of option, can play as a natural in 4 key positions, which is you absolutely love to see. A little bit of squad depth there. We've brought in a Croatian as well, another defensive midfielder, exactly what you love to see. 6'2" Croatian, yes please, we love those in central defensive midfield. They both came in on free transfers. 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗓 comes in, another centre back option. You need to keep these players coming in and through the door, guys. He's got 17 jumping reach and he's 6'4". If he doesn't score at least 5 headers, I'll be very disappointed. He come in from 𝗕𝗩 in Serbia. We signed this guy, 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗚𝗓. Looks like a good little player for us again. Another defensive midfield option. We've got lots of bodies who can play in lots of different positions, but this definitely feels like a step up in this particular role. And then we've got this guy, 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗓. Is how I'm going to butcher this guy's name. Looks like another option for us. Can play on both wings, good on both feet, which is again fantastic. And then if we move into the last player, we've got this guy from Algeria. He looks like an absolute wrecking ball, this guy. Physicals up the wazoo, 6'1", 26 years of age, a decent enough goal scorer. He's coming back from a twisted ankle, but I think he is the kind of man we need to lead this line. If we go into the team and we quick pick without restriction at our best 11, this is how we are looking right now, guys, and we are definitely improving. Our goalkeeper following promotion did want to stay, which is great because I actually think he's probably one of the best bits around this team, and he's now a 4.5-star player. Sasa, who we did pick up, is now a 4-star player. He's still under 23. Again, fantastic options for us, but we are really strong up top now with 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 and the man from Algeria. We are looking like a prospect to potentially stay in the league, and survival is going to be the name of the game in this particular season. We're going to completely discount the Turkish Cup. We are expected to fight bravely against relegation in the Super League, and if we click on the season preview, it's going to be a tough ask. We are 1,000 to 1 to stay in the division, guys. 1,000 to 1, and there are some names in this division still, which is going to be great. Galatasaray are the favourites to win the league. Fenerbahçe up there, Trabzonspor, Besiktas, the exact names that you would expect to see. We just want to survive, and if we go into the competitions tab, survival means finishing 15th or higher. That's all we need, 15th or higher. And last season, what was the threshold for survival? 33 points. I feel that's achievable. Let's get through the season and see if it is achievable. So we said 33 points was the limit for survival, and we actually managed to get ourselves 37 points. So we did survive. We are just about there. We finished in 14th, which, to be honest, I'm happy with. That is exactly where we needed to be. We finished in 14th. We survived for the season, which, again, that was our main goal. Galatasaray do go on to win the title, 80 points. They win that by 7 points, and we are just behind the cinch Premiership in Scotland in terms of our league rating as well. Maybe we can play in a continental competition towards the end of this. Maybe. Who knows? But yes, Galatasaray win the title. We survive, though. We do survive. We go out in the 6th round of the Cup. A pretty disappointing performance in that one, losing 5-1 on that Cup competition. There we go. Let me filter that down. There you go. You can see we go through 2 rounds. 4-2 in the first round, 3-2 via extra time in the 5th round. And then, yeah, 6th round come up against a side. And as you can see, getting a man sent off in 15 minutes is sub-ideal. The game was 1-1. Tolly gets a straight red, disappointing, and then the extra man is a problem, basically, as you kind of would expect against the team in your division. But the main thing, guys, was survival. If we go onto the home tab, you can see 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 here absolutely smashed it. 22 goals, 6 assists for him. Absolutely dominated in his first season in the Super League, and he's done very well. He's rated as a decent player for the division, and he could get a touch better as well, maybe. I'm really impressed with how he's done as a striker, and he could play in 2 other key positions for us as well. Should we be able to bring in someone good? 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 has another fantastic season as well. 9 goals and 11 assists for him, so he's progressed quite nicely, but he is currently injured. All in all, guys, I think we've done fantastically well here. Like, survival was the name and the aim of the game, and we've done that just about. We've got a little bit of money to spend in our wage budget, about £10,000 to spend, but the transfer budget still not being great to us. Obviously, we still do have this whacking great loan debt. The further we finish up the division, the more money we do ultimately get. Is there a way that I can see how much money we get? No. Is that for everyone in between 189k? It's not the end of the world, but it's not making a huge dent in our debts. Right, let's get through into season number 5 and see if next season we can kind of push up the table a little bit. Okay guys, so going into season number 5, we've been pretty active in the transfer market as well. Now you can see a long list of outs on the right hand side. Lots of them have gone out on loan, which I'm not too worried about. The depth options, they're youth players. It's not the end of the world. The players that we have been able to bring in, 𝗕𝗨𝗃𝗘𝗬 looks like a great player coming in from 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗘𝗡, much more well-rounded than anything we've had so far. Can play in lots of key positions for us. Looks like a great addition on a free transfer from Spezia. Bursaspor comes in as another option for us. Again, natural on both wings. Now I do have to talk about 𝗕𝗨𝗃𝗘𝗬. He wanted like over double his wage. Nah, not happening. So we go out and we get someone in the free transfer market who can improve us as well. 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗚 comes in, fullback on that left-hand side. He doesn't like big matches, but he is consistent. So fingers crossed he can be a good little player for us. And then Bilal is a new gen who's come in, centre-back. Looks like he could be good. Has all the base attributes there to be a good centre-back, but he comes in on a free transfer. Sorry, on a free transfer, but we sent him back out as one of the 400 million people we've got out on loan. We brought in a couple players on loan ourselves. We brought in this guy from Schalke, again, new gen. It's worth scouting some of these other big nations for people of your nationality if you are in some of these other leagues, because we've been able to pick up this promising winger who is Turkish from Schalke on a loan. We've also picked up this guy as well from Wolfsburg. Are they Austria? They are Austria. Managed to pick him up as a fullback option as well on loan as a squad player. And then we picked up this guy, 𝗕𝗨𝗃𝗘𝗬𝗓 from Monaco, to be a potential striker for us. Now, I did say about 𝗕𝗨𝗃𝗘𝗬 going out, and we do have a plan. This is the plan. Dogan, who has looks like a good little player, he doesn't play on this side at all. So we're going to try and pin him in position to see if he can improve a little bit. He's listed as a promising winger. He's under 23. He's valued at 6.4 to 9.5 million pounds, a potential to be a 5-star player. Physically pretty good, other than the fact that he's 5'4", can't jump, but I don't need him to. I just need him to get on the ball and run at people. So we're going to pin him in to this position and see if hopefully by the end of the season he offers us a lot. We will see if that was the correct decision. We've also got this guy, obviously our main striker. He was a top goal scorer last season. He is injured to start the season, which is sub-ideal, but he'll be back in a couple weeks' time. But the squad is light. We're light on the ground. This is how things are looking right now. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how good we are. Again, not overly confident in the defensive line, I must say, but we're going to have to see what happens. If we go into the competition, Sab, we do have the same two yet again. Fight bravely against relegation. The prediction for the media, we're 1,000 to 1 again, but we're not predicted to finish bottom. One of the newly promoted sites are predicted to finish bottom. It's gonna be a messy season yet again, but I think we can start to slowly progress up the league. Maybe not be involved in a relegation scrap come the end of the season. Let's see what happens in season number 4. So survival was the aim of the game in this particular season yet again, but I did want to improve on what we did last season, and we did just that. We finished in 11th in the table, which is almost inside that top half. We're slowly getting there, -9 in terms of our goal difference, but we finished on 42 points, which is actually not too shabby at all. The Turkish Super League is climbing the league rankings as well. We are up into 10th, and Trabzonspor win the title. So there's no huge domination of this title, which leads me to believe we might get a chance, maybe in a couple of seasons, to maybe impact things a little bit here. But I think we've done fantastically well. 12 wins, 6 draws, 16 defeats. Now, if I go into here, you can see some of the interesting ones here. This is a huge result for us, beating Fenerbahçe 5-3, absolutely smashing it. Goals left, right and centre for both teams, but we win the game, which is huge. It shows that we have progressed and we can get results against some of these big boys. If we get rid of that one and we take a look only at the Turkish Cup, you can see we actually made it all the way to the quarterfinals, guys. Progression was relatively straightforward up till that point where we came up against Galatasaray and we lost 1-0 despite having 10 men for the last 20 minutes or so, double booking, which is silly, but we didn't really offer a great deal, but we didn't concede loads either, which is not too bad against a team the caliber of Galatasaray when you are playing in Turkey. But I think we've done very, very well here. We've kind of been relatively consistent. We did finish or get as high as 5th in the table at one point. It's proper nosebleed territory, that. Scotland is our top goal scorer with 27 goals. The man we signed from Monaco. He is on loan from Monaco, so maybe we have to see if we can do a little bit of a deal there. But he's gone off in the Super League and looks like a very, very good player. 27 goals and 3 assists in all competitions. We've got this guy as well, one of the young players coming through. This is a guy who was on loan from Schalke. Again, he is was a promising winger. Physically, he looks great. 18 agility, 16 acceleration, 15 pace. Yeah, great. Had a great season, but he's on loan from Schalke. So we're going to have to see if we can maybe do a deal for some of these players. Looks like we've been kind of carried by loanies, but in terms of our club stature and stuff like that, we've got £2.4 million in the overall balance, which is great. You absolutely love to see it. Wiggle room in the wage budget. We've actually got a transfer budget for the first time in a long time, and we're slowly making a dent in this net debt here. We're actually slowly paying stuff back, which is nice. It's nice. It's a nice position to be in, and we're actually going to have some money to spend. We don't have any scouting budget, but I think we've identified the talents that we do need to bring in to make this team better going into season number 6. So you can really start to see the money flying around now, and we've actually sold a player for quite a lot of money. We're going to start off there. Marin has gone to Fenerbahçe for £2 million, could rise to 3.6 million quid. It's money you cannot say no to, despite being a young player coming through our first youth intake. He's been out on loan the last 3 seasons, and then Fenerbahçe bought him for 2 million up front, which will rise to 3.6. It's allowed us to get a little bit active in the transfer market ourselves. We've actually spent 1.4 million pounds, and this is where I really do think we are going to take things to the next level. We'll just fire through some of these players super quickly. Picasso comes in, natural in 3 key positions for us. Absolutely brilliant. Looks like he could be an option coming in from Argentina. Then we've got Nico as well, another player. This is a centre-back. We're trying to bring in young-ish talent. 26 years of age is not necessarily the youngest in footballing terms, but kind of offers something that we could sell him potentially for in the future. Another defender here coming in from Italy, this time from Empoli, is Franco. Looks like another good option, and this is exactly what you need here. We have signed this guy, Paul Prim, who looks very good, coming in from Barcelona. Yes, we've signed a Barcelona player, and you can see the step above because he is a Barcelona player, or was a Barcelona player. Technically fantastic, mentally, physically great. 21 years of age, 6'2". Not a player that I've heard of, capped 10 times by the Spanish under-21 squad. This is probably our best player. This is probably our best player moving forward, but we have some extra options here. We've got this guy in, Alessandro, Albanian youth international, so did have some caliber there, very well rounded, lots of double-digit attributes there all across the board. You love to see it. He came in for 147k. Yaman Yilmaz, another Turkish player. We're bringing in as many of these youth players as we possibly can because there is a restriction on the league in Turkey. So we've got nice physicals on the guy, nice high determination. He's fairly determined in terms of his personality, so he will develop with the amount of game time, which you will hopefully see coming few seasons. And also, this is the guy in the fullback position. Again, we're trying to strengthen. You need to have players under the age of 23 who are homegrown in your squads. 350k for him, could rise to 600. And 𝗪𝗛𝗘𝗚 has come in as well. Centre-back, much better in terms of his mentals. Probably match ready now, actually, to be perfectly honest. Very good physically as well. Technically lacking, but we can definitely work on him there. Came in for 400k, could rise to 650. And this is the last guy, Boboy. Yes, Boboy, the centre-back. A good option. I feel like I'm saying that a lot because not a lot of these are star players, but these are very, very good options. Defensive midfield is where we are strongest right now. It's where our best players are, and we've got 𝗕𝗏𝗏 and Mohamed up top. So this is going to be our best run, I think. This is going to be our best return season-wise. We're still lacking a little bit at the back. We're trying to improve in these particular positions whilst also being set up for the cap, which if I go and have a look at this, I will show you what the cap is. Squad must have no more than 14 foreigners, at least 1 under-23 player trained by the club, at least 2 under-23 players trained by a club in Turkey. So you can see why we're going out there and we are trying to get as many of these youth prospects in as we possibly can. League-wise, the league is actually improving quite nicely. The Turkish clubs must be doing good in the continental competitions because we're now ranked in 9th. We were down in 16th. We're now up in 9th as a competition, which is great because that means more money and more Champions League spots potentially, or European spots coming in to the league, which is great. If we take a look at the season preview, this is how we are looking. I feel every summer we are improving this team. The odds do not back it. We are now 2,000 to 1 to win the title. We finished in 11th last season, I think it was. So the goal is to improve on that this season, of course. The goal is always to improve, but the board, again, just want us to fight bravely against relegation. Because of selling some of these players, though, the finances are definitely looking a little bit better. The net debt is down to just under £46 million, but the overall balance of the club is in the positive. We're not overspending on our wage budget. We're not spending all of our transfer budget. We are trying to be financially responsible with this team, but it is a very, very tough situation here at Bursaspor. So guys, season 6 was one of the most ridiculous seasons you will see in Football Manager. This is how we finished in the league. We finished 1 point behind Fenerbahçe and we qualify for the Champions League. Yes, I don't know what's happened here. I'm sure you guys won't know what's happened here either. 21 victories, 5 draws, 8 defeats all season. Our goal difference was better. We won on the final day of the season, but so did Fenerbahçe. No. As you can see, we had an unbelievable run towards the end of the season, only losing twice in how many games is that? 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We only lost twice in 11 games, which is absolutely huge. It's basically put us on this run. You can see we've picked up spells of very nice, consistent victories, which again is massive for this team. Obviously, we're losing against Fenerbahçe, we're losing against Besiktas, we're losing against the teams that you would expect us to lose to, but we are now beating a large portion of these other teams, which means we finish in 2nd. We will be playing Champions League football. We're going from the 3rd tier into the Champions League inside 6 seasons, which is absolutely ridiculous, basically unheard of. We're 1 point behind Fenerbahçe. It's another different winner of the trophy as well, which is great. Maybe we can get our name on it next season. That would be huge if we possibly could. But ultimately, we've punched above our weight here. We got knocked out in the 4th round of the cup. Look, the cup was obviously not the priority this season. We lose 3-3. Well, we lose on a penalty shootout after a 3-3 draw here, only missing 1 penalty. We probably deserve to win that. 11 shots on target. Looks like their goalkeeper had a bit of a worldie, but ultimately, who cares? I'm out of the cup when you're finishing 2nd in the league. The runs have been fantastic. The boys have been great. If we go onto the home screen, you can kind of see some of the players here. Mohamed absolutely smashed it again. 27 goals for him. He's now wanted by other clubs in Europe. Leicester, Granada, Las Palmas, Portimonense. They all want this guy. He is now capped by Algeria as well. All of this great stuff. We've been absolutely smashing it. He's been absolutely killing it. You love to see. 𝗕𝗚𝗚𝗚 is another good option for us there. 12 assists for him. But again, when you compare the two, it's kind of chalk and cheese compared to how some of our other players have been looking. And I have to touch on the defensive midfield options because the boys have been absolutely smashing it. Where's our man Pau Prim? He looks great. He's also wanted by Deportivo La Coruña, so that's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. In terms of the transfer budgets going into the Champions League, you get loads of money, right? Not so much. We've got a little bit more in wage budget. Our wage budget is now up to £86,000 a week. Now, when we started this, it was under 20, so the progression has been really, really good. We've got just under £3 million in transfer budget as well. Overall club balance is £6 million in the plus, but we do still have £45 million worth of debt, so we are trying to progress things through. But this is going to be a big one because I feel like the Champions League fixtures are going to cause a little bit of a problem, but obviously the more games you play in the Champions League, the more money you get. Let's get into the next season. Here we go, guys, into our Champions League season in season number 7, and we've been active in the transfer market. We spent a little bit of money, £1.5 million. We're keeping things modest. We pulled in Nathaniel Davies, a youngster from Arsenal. Oh, he was at Arsenal on a free transfer. Welsh winger, 6 caps for the under-21 side, 1 goal as well. Great player, genuinely, for this level. Absolutely fantastic player. Physically very, very good. Yeah, needs a little bit of work mentally, but he is only 20 years of age. He's been capped by the Welsh youngsters, the Welsh youth internationals. We've also got 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗬 as a left back option. Look at all the positions he can play out that left hand side. A great improvement for us. He is our best player in that position. Defensively, I feel we were struggling a little bit last season. We've brought in this guy as a striker. 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗓 is how I'm going to say this guy's name. Slovenian international with 1 cap to his name at 24 years of age. 16 flair, very nice physicals as well. Great little player. He is injury prone, so we're going to have to see how that one does move on. And his favourite role is a trequartista, which is just... he's not going to be playing it, but it's interesting to see. So the left back comes in for 250k, 450k for that guy. And then 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗬 is another young Albanian. He's got 1 cap for the Albanian senior team, despite only being 20 years of age. Coming out of Real Zaragoza in Spain. Looks like a great player. Fantastically well-rounded for this level already. £3 million. To £7.4 million, 5-star potential, 16 acceleration, another good option. £200,000 for that guy. And then we got this lad in from Besiktas as well as a centre back, supremely well rounded, Turkish youth international. Again, we are trying to make sure we hit that quota with young Turkish talent in this team. And if we go into the tactic and we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how we are looking. We've really improved at centre back, guys, and this is huge for us. Defensively, we were a bit lacking last season, and now we're looking real good. I actually think the balance throughout the course of this team is fantastic. We've got Prim, who's unhappy right now. He's currently under a £1 million bid from Mallorca. We'll have to see how that does turn out, but he's here at the start of the season, and I think if he were to stay, we would be a very good side. If we go into the competition tab, though, obviously we did qualify for the Champions League last season. Well, we qualified for the ability to qualify for the Champions League. We are in the League Path playoff in the first leg, where we take on 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗬 from Ukraine. Win this tie and we go through, lose this tie and we go into the Europa League. So it's not the end of the world, but I would love to be in the Champions League for that Champions League money. The board expectation in the league this season is to finish in mid-table, and if we take a look at things, ooh, look at this, we are up to 8th. We are coming for you, Eredivisie. Hopefully we don't let the quota down this year. David Raya is now in the league. There are some Balagans here. Oh no. Oh no. We are predicted to finish in 10th, guys, despite having Champions League football, despite finishing in 2nd last season. It seems like the media are basically saying it was a little bit of a fluke, and we are predicted to finish in 10th with our Champions League football. It's time to go out there and prove them wrong in season number 7. Okay, we've been brought back down to reality with a huge thud. I think potentially it could well be the continental competition, whilst being good for us financially, was very poor for us on the field, because we actually finished in 12th in the league, -7 goal difference, 38 points. For a team that finished in 2nd last season, this is a huge reality check. In terms of the competitions, though, as you can see, we started the season so badly. I'll talk about the league campaign in a second. We lost to 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗬 on aggregate 8-2. In the Champions League, which meant we went into the Europa League. So let's talk about the Europa League first and foremost. So you can see we actually managed to get ourselves through in the league phase. We had some interesting teams as well that we took on. We drew a PSV, lost to Nantes, beat Frankfurt, beat Utrecht, beat Karabag, lost to Newcastle, lost to Anderlecht, and then we come up against Shamrock Rovers. So fair play to an Irish side making it to the knockout stages. We lose 2-1 in Ireland, then we beat Shamrock back at home 3-0 to progress. We take on Vitória from Portugal. We drew 3-3 at home, win 3-1 away from home, and then we take on Marseille. We go all the way to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, which is absolutely huge, but we do lose to Marseille 2-1 at home and 2-0 in France. But ultimately, I think that's a not too bad performance for us, which I'm actually quite happy with, despite being that far into the competition and ultimately not getting into the Champions League. In terms of the Turkish Cup, we progressed through the first couple of rounds, 5th, 6th and quarterfinals pretty nicely, and we come up against Trabzonspor in the semi-finals and we lose over 2 legs. We lost both legs as well. Disappointing to lose 4-1 on aggregate to Trabzonspor, but they are a good side. And now let's talk about the league. Let's talk about the start of the season, because that's bad, ladies and gentlemen. That is bad. 5 defeats in a row to start the season. We did start picking up some points, but again, the continental competition, if I put all of the competitions back in here, you're kind of going to see the overwhelming volume of fixtures was not good for this team. Obviously, qualifying for the Champions League, going out of the Champions League is not great. And then obviously the European games being smattered in with some of these as well. It's very difficult to pick yourselves back up in that league competition. Look at this run of this month is just absolutely honking that. Absolutely horrendous. Losing twice in the Europa League phase, twice in the league, 1 draw. It's not what you want. It's really not what you want. But we can reassess and we can regroup going into next season, hopefully. Bringing it back to the competitions, 𝗕𝗏𝗃 win the league. Again, it's another different winner. There's no one who's really got a stranglehold on this division. They win it with 77 points, which isn't actually huge. 77 points, actually that is huge. That would have seen them win the title most of these years. Yeah, most of the years. So we need to work. We need some work. We need some work. And hopefully no competition, no continental competitions next season means we can actually push things forward a little bit. We've got £5 million in the transfer budget. Obviously being in the Europa League has given us some money, £149,000 in our wage budget and £17 million in terms of that overall balance. The net debt is now down, yes, down to £33 million. But obviously we don't have any continental competition next season, so we're going to have to see how we progress in season number 8. Okay, guys, so going into season number 8, we've been, again, active in the transfer market, as you would expect, and we actually did have some money to spend, so it's nice to actually be able to go out and pick up some players. Some of these are early doors signings, so they're on this page, so I need to talk about them. 𝗕𝗏𝗃 comes in from Metz. Again, young player. It's basically how we're looking at building this team, getting the young players in. He looks like a great little option for us on that wing. £1 million with some add-ons, which could, it says, rise to £1 million, so it looks like we've paid for that already. 𝗕𝗏𝗃 comes in. This guy looks great. Now, he has high natural fitness, high acceleration, high flair, high determination. For a player who's 21 years of age, he's been capped at the England under 20 level. He comes in from West Brom for £1.4 million. Now, I'm sorry, Baggies fans. He's going to be a good player for us. 𝗕𝗏𝗃 looks like another good player. We're still trying to find that right centre-back partnership. He's 6'2". He's 26 years of age. He's Turkish, so again, that definitely helps with our quota. He came in for 300k. Signed this guy from Pisa as well. Defensive midfielder, 𝗕𝗏𝗃. He looks great, actually. Very well-rounded, 16 natural fitness. Really, really happy with his addition for £1.1 million. And we also picked up this guy, Durmaz, again, young Turkish player, capped at under 19 level. Again, high on that determination. 20 determination, cannot get any better. Looks like he could develop into a good player. Then we've got some players over on this side as well. Jardel Kanga joins us from Bayern Leverkusen on a free transfer. Again, lots of natural positions that he can play in as well. Another player has come in from West Brom. We've picked up another goalkeeper here to kind of improve us. He's barely played for West Brom if we actually go and look. He signed for them from Everton on a free transfer, played twice in the Championship, conceded 2 goals. He's now our goalkeeper, 775k. We also picked up this guy from Besiktas, another striker that we are trying out. Still, again, centre-back and striker seem to be the large problems that we do have. 500k for him. And then the last one, Ivan Marrero, is another new gen talent that we've picked up. The new gen filter, you guys know about it now. It's going to work in FM24 as well, guys. But yeah, have a look at the new gen filter. It's in my Discord. Links to that are in the description. He is a left back for us. And again, we are stacked with young, talented athletes. And this is what we're going to do, guys. These are the players that we're going to pin in their positions. Marrero, Asamoah, and Adili as our main striker. This Albanian has gone from strength to strength. He wants to move to a bigger club, but his development has been pretty good for us. Last season, he wasn't superb. He was okay. 19 goals in all competitions, which is great. Only got 6 in the league, though, but we did have a poor season. So we're going to pin him in at striker, and hopefully he can take us back to the promised land. Competitions wise, obviously we do have no continental competition this season. The board want a quarter-final finish in the cup, and they also are expecting a mid-table finish in the league. Now, if we take a look at the league preview, we're now predicted to finish in 8th, guys. We are really improving this team massively. We're still 100 to 1 to win the title, which I think is probably a little bit beyond us at this point, but 100 to 1 to win the title, predicted to finish in 8th. This is massive compared to where we were a couple of seasons ago. 2,000 to 1 odds. We are now really, really improving this team. And if we take a look at things financially as well, £8.8 million in the overall balance. We're back up to £44 million in terms of that net debt, but we are trying so hard to get this moving on. But we've got some good youth assets right now in this team, and I'm hoping for a very good season in season number 8. So guys, before we get into the season's results, I have some heartbreak to talk to you about. This guy, ideally, I thought he was going to be our star striker for the season. Before the season fully, well, not before the season fully got underway, we'd already kicked off. Bournemouth came in and paid his minimum fee release clause. I was kind of trying to build the attack around this guy. He's now playing at Bournemouth. Well, he's listed for loan at Bournemouth, but he looks like a good player. We only got 3 games out of him, 3 games, no goals, and then £5.25 million. His minimum fee release clause was activated by Bournemouth. Obviously, English clubs have got too much money, as you kind of would expect, but yeah, it was disappointing to see a striker of that caliber go. We did bring in this guy from Juve, but that wasn't until the January transfer window. 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗓, he is very good. He is very good. I love new gen shopping in this year's game in every edition of FM, but the man you try to build a strike force around departs on the deadline day is sub-ideal. But competitions wise, guys, we finish in 4th. We qualify for the Europa Conference League. 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗓 win the league yet again, but we've really improved. We are in a great little position here going into continental competition. In terms of the cup though, let's filter the cup results down. We got into the 6th round. Unfortunately, we did lose in extra time there. If you take a look at this game, conceded in the 100th minute, which is disappointing, but we progressed enough into that 6th round. In terms of the Super League though, we picked up some nice results. We were difficult to beat this season. We didn't lose an abundance. We lost a decent amount at the start, but then after that, we kind of got things back on track towards the end of the season, finishing with a strong 3-0 victory against champions 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗓. You can definitely see there's something there with this team. If we go into the home screen, you can see this is our top goal scorer, one of the Turkish players that we have had for a season or so. He's done very, very well in high natural fitness and flair and all of that good stuff. 21 goals in all competitions for him. Jardel Kanga was very good for us as well. He got a decent amount of assists, 7 goals, 11 assists for Kanga. This team has really, really improved, guys. And in terms of the finances and stuff, we've got a nice little balance. The debt and loan is still there. We've been trying to hack at it, but not being in the Champions League consistently, you cannot get rid of it. But this team is really good. We've got £3.7 million worth of transfer debt, transfer budget, and yeah, about 40 grand a week in terms of our wage budget. But we're going to call it there. Going back into the Conference League for next season. You guys can pick this save up if you wanted to in my Discord. Links to that will be down in the description. And if you did like this longer style rebuild, it is back for this one particular video. Let me know down in that comment section. But until next time, guys, words. I've been talking for like an hour. Until next time, guys, take care. See you guys later.